नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. Alright, so today we come back to where we were, where we left last time, and it was after the Swayamvara of Draupadi, where Arjuna had won the challenge and Draupadi had, along with Arjuna and Bhimasena, left the Swayamvara Mandapa. There was a brief war in between, and Bhimasena and Arjuna had overcome all opposition. And they had gone back to their house where they were all living in the guise of Brahmanas, staying in the house of a potter. So they had gone to the house of the potter where Kunti was there, and Kunti had inadvertently said, when they had said, "We have come with Bhiksha," saying, "Please share it among yourselves, all five of you." We saw the story of how then it was decided that Krishna, that is Draupadi, would be the bride of all five Pandavas, and how Sri Krishna, the Vasudeva, had come along with Balarama to their house. His presence was there, and then he had left, and how in the night time Drupada had sent his son along with the spies were keeping track, because they didn't know who was the guy who had actually won the hand of Krishna. So they were very worried. So they had Drupada's son Drishtadyumna had come in the night. He was keeping watch in the house, and how the Pandavas, when they were lying down, Kunti was also lying down, and Draupadi was lying down, and how the Pandavas are going on discussing matters of battle and war. So he was convinced that they are Kshatriyas. And he had come back and he had told his father. So we saw all that. And then how Drupada had sent his Purohitas with a message to the Pandavas saying, "We would like to know who you are." And then it was our king's dream that Krishna should marry Arjuna, like that, and all he had said. And then Yudhishthira had replied saying that there was no such condition that was laid before the Swayamvara. The Swayamvara was announced, and anybody who would win the challenge was to get the hand of Krishna, and she has been won in a fair challenge. So there is no point now at this point in time saying all this, because it was never said earlier before that the person should be of this kulam or this gotram or this family, etc. So when they were saying all that, then another messenger had come saying, "The king is inviting you to please be relieved of your daily responsibility here and come for a lunch to the palace." And the chariots are ready, so there were chariots outside waiting for them. Then it was the daytime, in the morning. Then the Pandavas had got into the chariot, and there was another chariot in which Krishna and Draupadi and Kunti had got into. Krishna meaning always double A, meanings Draupadi. Draupadi and Panchali, if you want. And Kunti had got onto the chariots, and they had gone to the palace. And in the palace, there was they were all welcomed with royal splendor. It was fantastic. Chariots had gone in with all the golden lotuses and gem encrusted. It was a king's chariot. They had gone to the palace, and golden simhasanas were laid out for the Pandavas to sit for eating, etc. So they had comfortably gone, and they sat down in it in a manner as which they were very used to such things, etc. Although they were still in Brahmana's dress. Drupada was noticing all that quietly. And they sat down, and the most fancy of feasts was served to them. And that too in golden plates, and then materials being brought in golden vessels and silver vessels and all of that. The best of food. And for the last so many months, these people have been eating bhiksha food. Daily they've been going out, getting some food in bhiksha and eating and sharing and somehow getting by as Brahmanas. As such bhiksha food, that too Brahmanas taking bhiksha, they would have got some gruel or some kanji or something. That's what they've been eating for all these few months. Now a proper full kingly meal is being laid out. Damn thrilled these guys were. Whereas Kunti and Draupadi, they had gone inside. They were not eating with them at that time. Draupadi must have taken Kunti inside to the women's apartments, and maybe Kunti was meeting all the queens or whatever it was. It was not very clear. They had gone with her, that's what it says. But here these people were all eating well, sitting there and asking for this and that, etc., and eating properly. And as far as Bhimasena was concerned, he was convinced that this is the right place. And the best food was as much food as he wanted and more, and fantastic food was coming his way. His heart was totally given to Draupadi now that this is the place. There's nothing, no other place in the world as best as this. So he was eating very well. So that's where we stopped last time. The king, in the hall that they were eating, he had also arranged, it was a huge hall, you can imagine the king of Panchala. Huge hall, and he had arranged two rows after the eating. There's that side of the hall, one big row of items kept. This side of the hall, another big row of items are kept. He had arranged all that before they had come. So Vyasa says, Phalani malyani va sanskritani varmani charmani tathasanani kaschaiva rajannabachaiva rajju bijani janmani chanyani krishi nimittam anyeshu silpeshu sayani shasyu sarvani krityani kirena tatra krida nimittani apyani tatra sarvani tatropajahara raja. So on one side, like you might see in a village chandai, in the village market, if you go, you'll feel very fascinating stuff will be there. So on one side, mountains, lots of fruits had been kept, and lovely vegetables of all kinds, etc., were kept, and there was flower garlands, fantastic garlands and all were there. Then some first class Jallikattu type of cows and all were kept standing there. All of that was there, and fantastic seeds, all kinds of seeds, very very good seeds of all kinds of good agricultural produce was kept here and there. Then some fantastic ropes, maybe to tie the bulls, etc. Some good stout ropes and all were there. And other, some very very good agricultural implements and other stuff was there. All kinds of good artisanship work related stuff, where the artists, sculptors, etc., the people who could do things with their hands, their output, their outcomes, etc., were all kept on nicely, he had kept, including some of there are some accessories that people who that are needed to be worn by people who take care of agricultural fields, etc. All those are also kept. So there was a lot of stuff, beautiful stuff kept on one side, all flowers and garlands and fruits and vegetables, all of that. And on the other side, he had kept Varmani Charmani Chabanumanti, fantastic shields and armors, all shining. Armors and shields, shining. Khadga Mahanto Shvaradhascha Chitraha. He had kept some very nice swords, and horses, nice neighing horses, and all that. And big, nice horses. Dhanum Shijagrani Sharascha Chitraha. Some beautiful bows and fascinating looking arrows he had kept, all kinds of arrows. And he had kept some very, very nice weapons, Shaktis and all kinds of weapons, gold and prasa, bhushunda, all kinds of missiles, weapons, etc. he had kept. And he had kept some nice, fantastic ornaments, gold ornaments and all that. He had just heaped it on that side. And Shayyasana Ani Uttama Vastuvanti. He had kept some very, very good pillows and beds and all that side. And Tathaiva Vaso Vividach Tatra. Fantastic dresses he had kept. Very nice. Good, grand, branded kind of dresses, etc. Just kept on one side. So this side, all of that side. These 5 Pandavas, after they had eaten and Bhimasena had eaten, they all got naturally, simply they walked to the other side where all these weapons, etc. are kept. They started looking at each other, talking to each other, oh my God, and all that. So all this Drupada was noticing what these guys were doing and all that. So he was feeling better and better as the day progressed. You're sure that these are, this must be the Pandavas. These are Kshatriyas for sure, he decided. Anyway, he was not sure who to wear, so he called Yudhishthira saying, I'd like to have a word with you, sir, and all that. He called him, gently inquired, saying that, I would like to know your family background. He said, we are anxious to know who you are. Are you Brahmanas who have come here, or are you princes, or I think maybe you are all devas. You are celestial deities who had come to participate in the Swayamvara of my daughter, and you are under disguise of Brahmanas, it is possible. Or who are you? I'm rather anxious to know. Ichchaya bruhi tat satyam satyam rajasu shobhate ishtapurtena tata vaktavyam mandatam natu. He said, you please tell me, it is my desire that you should desire to tell me the truth. Please tell me Satyam. Because for us kings, Satyam is the most important thing for us. The truth is the most important thing for us, even compared to Ishtas and what is called as Purta, different kinds of karma that the kings have to do or we have to do. There's a Ishta karma is things like you have to do Agnihotram, you have to do Tapasya, you have to do Vedadhyayana, you have to do Satya Bhashana, obedience to elders, hospitality of guests, Atiti, Satkaram, etc. These are all called Ishta. Then Purta is, things like digging of ponds, digging of wells for the public good. There are certain things that are done. Building of temples, building of public gardens, doing Annadanam. These are all things that we are supposed to do. It's actually even now, it's there in all over India, people do. So now there's a little less awareness of it. But people used to dig wells, dig the ponds, all of that. It's part of our culture. So even now, if you go to the railway station, you'll see this piao, this water was donated by so and so set. Something will be written, right? Some North Indian Marwadi would have donated or something like that. So it's a part of the culture to do that. So it's called Purta Karma. So all that is done. So, but more than both of this, from a king's perspective, they respect somebody who says the truth. He says. So he's from his side, he's putting little bit of pressure, saying, "Please tell me who it is, who you are, and all that." Drupada is putting that pressure on Yudhishthira. Please tell me the truth and of your by your own desire, etc. And then he also says, "I will listen to you, and then after that, I will make the arrangements for the wedding." Yudhishthira tells him, "Please don't be anxious. It is actually all as per your heart's desire. We are Kshatriyas. In fact, we are Pandavas. We are Pandu's sons." Then he showed Bhimasena and Arjuna to pointing them out. Yudhishthira told Drupada, "These are the two who won your daughter's hand by defeating all the other kings. And these two, Nakula and Sahadeva," he introduced them as well. And then he said, "My mother Kunti is also here, but she has gone inside with Princess Krishna, etc. There is absolutely no reason for any anxiety on your part, sir. Padmini vasuteyam te khradadanya khradam gata." Your daughter, who is like a lotus which grew up in one pond, will merely be going to another pond. That is all that will happen. There is no need for any anxiety on your part. And sir, Bhavani Guru Rasmakam Paramam Japarayanam. For us now, you are our respected elder. And indeed, you are our refuge. It is under you we seek refuge now, all of us. Drupada was overjoyed and he was dumbfounded. He couldn't speak, he couldn't find his tongue. His whole, just horripilations his body was undergoing, etc. Vyasa says, with great effort he controlled his happiness, it seems. Parayatnam controlled his happiness, and then he asked, "How did you escape from Varanavata and all that? I thought burnt in the fire and all that." So Yudhishthira peacefully explained, this is all how we did all that stuff. And how then Drupada was getting very angry with Duryodhana upon hearing all this story of what happened to the Pandavas and all that, and he said, no, this is not. We'll ensure that you get your kingdom back. I am there and all that. We will do that and all that stuff. Not a problem. How can they do like this and all that? I'll talk to them and all that stuff. So he said, please be comfortable. But first, sir, please be comfortable, etc. Meanwhile, he started quietly in the background telling Dhritarashtra that all arrangements are to be made. We need to have the wedding to be held properly. Only daughter, princess of Panchala. So we need to have all that done so you get going. Meanwhile, he said, several months you have been living in such difficult circumstances, but first you please, settle down. So he said he gave them a palace to stay and get comfortable, all that stuff. So they were there for many days, they were peacefully enjoying themselves and all that. Then, meanwhile, he was observing them also, saying how are they doing, what are they doing and all that. So he got full confidence in them now. See how much evaluation he has done. He got full confidence now on the fact that his daughter could actually get married to that family and all that. Really evaluated all that. And he had full confidence, and along with his son, then one day after a few days, he went to Yudhishthira and said, Grinnat vidivat panimadhyayam kurunandana punyehani mahabahurarjana kurdam kshanam. So he said, today is a very auspicious day. Our Puravitas have selected. And it is the right time for Arjuna to do panigrahana of my daughter Krishna and start as soon as possible in the practice of his Kula Dharma as a Grihastha. So today is a good day for Arjuna to begin on his next ashrama in Kula Dharma. All that he told Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira calmly heard him and said, Mama pidara sambandha karyavastavad vishampate. King, I also should be married to her. My wedding also should be conducted with her. Drupada, the king, so from whatever I could read, and I read it 3 times, I don't think he showed any surprise in his face, etc. If he was, he must have been, of course, quite stunned to hear this, but he didn't blink at all. Dealing with the Pandavas, he's already lost one battle with them earlier when Drona had brought them to sack his kingdom. So he knows their prowess also. So he is very, very, very careful and so proper in his conduct with the Pandavas. Now their marriage is not yet over. You can't mess it up anything. So when Yudhishthira had said this, he was quiet. He didn't even wait anything. He just said, quickly recovered, and he said, fine. Then you please do panigrahana of Krishna. Bhavan va vidivat panim grinatu duhitur mama. Or you may wed with Draupadi. Yasya va manyase veeratasya Krishna mupadisha. Or if you think that it will be one of your other brothers, you please tell me. I am okay. All of you are good people. I am happy. You please tell me whom you want. Yudhishthira said, Sarvesham maheshi rajan Draupadi no bhavishyati evam pyavrahridam purvam mama matra vishampate. Draupadi, O king, O Rajan, she will be Sarvesham maheshi. She will be the queen for all of us. Evam pyavrahridam purvam mama, and this has been how it has been decided by my mother, our mother. She has decided this, that she will be the queen for all of us. In front of the fire, all 5 of us will marry her one by one. Drupada now he could not just stand by idly without saying something. So he said, Ekasya brukvayo vihita mahishya kurunandana. Naikasya bhava punsa shruyante patah kvachit. He said, this is not heard of. This is unheard of. We do not hear. We cannot hear that only it is that one person, she will marry one man. What is this? That one girl marrying several men? This is not. We don't hear of this. And he said to him, Loka viruddham tvam na dharmam dharma vichushi kartum arhasi kaunteya kasmate buddhiridrishi. You know dharma. You are Yudhishthira, you know dharma. You are a pure-hearted man. You are so pure-hearted. And you are saying that you will do something which is loka viruddham, which is opposed to common practice in the world, loka viruddham, and Veda Shastram. You are Kunti's son, Kaunteya. Kasmate buddhiridrishi. Why is your brain coming up things like this? How can your brain come up with this such a suggestion? Yudhishthira told him, King, the nature of dharma is ati sukshmam. It is very subtle. And we cannot say that we know its ways. We have precedents in ancient times where there was one lady married to more than one man. There are precedents in ancient times. I know one thing, that my speech never utters a lie. And adharma cannot enter my mind. It does not enter my mind. Our mother has asked us to do this. And my mind deliberated upon it and found this uchitam. Now I am also unmarried, so is Bhimasena. Arjuna indeed has won Panchali in the challenge. So among us 5 brothers, we've always had this pact that whatever we win in a challenge, that prize will be shared by all of us. Any of us wins a prize, it will be shared by all of us. This is also our practice. So King, whatever we are doing here, whatever I am saying now, this is dharma that we do. So please fear not, have no misgivings or doubts. Please proceed with the preparation for the wedding. Yudhishthira is saying this. It's like, you're going in a train, settling down to sleep for the night. Some 5 people enter saying, we will adjust in your seat. No, don't worry. You sit on, just little bit space you give, we will adjust. Here no reservation, nothing. What you will do? So like that. Tough looking people, you can't say no. What will you do? So he's between a rock and a hard place now, Drupada. But he's a king and he has handled administrative problems in his life many times. Now it is his daughters. It's okay. I mean, worst comes to worst. Daughter's headache. But then right now he's got something to do. So he says, quickly recovers and says, now, I think you should. Let me suggest that you please first discuss amongst yourselves and with your mother Kunti and my son Dhriഷ്ടadhyumna. All of you please separately go and discuss this matter and come to a consensus. What should be done? And when you all agree, tell me, we will do whatever you all agree. So he pushed his son into the argument, saying he kept himself out of it as a person who is, it's okay, daughters, his son will handle. So, son Dhriഷ്ടadhyumna is a tough negotiator. So it's not that he's given up now. He's put that, and Kunti also, everybody should take responsibility and come up with a consensus. So now and he himself is keeping himself above all this. Now nobody can say Drupada didn't agree. He's keeping himself above all this, putting the responsibility on Kunti and Dhrištadhyumna and all that. Now, it was a delicate time, so now Kunti has to be brought. They brought her from inside. Krishna, whether she came, we're not very clear. Maybe she came. But all of them are now sitting down to discuss that matter and all that. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Vedavyasa appeared. He always appears in times of such difficulties. Akasmat, he came. He was there suddenly. And what a relief everybody felt on seeing him. Oh my God, Vedavyasa has come. So they all paid their respects to Vyasa, and Drupada was very, very happy to welcome him and gave him an asana. He made him all that. So I made him sat down and then said, "There's a matter that I need to take your advice," etc. Vyasa knows all matters, but he's waiting. He said, "Yes." So it explains to him, "This situation has arisen, and what should I don't know," etc. And what is it? What is dharma? I don't know. That Drupada had asked Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa said, "You see, this matter on this question, whether a person, whether she can marry 5 people, etc., on such questions, this matter is a very heavy, serious issue. And the explanation and the what is the conduct for such a thing is hidden in the Shastras. It's actually veiled, avarnam. In the Shastras, it is, since it's a very heavy issue, it's not kept up front. It's there. It's hidden deep in the Shastra. Because it goes against common practice, loka viruddham, and commonly understood dharma. It goes against that. So it's a matter is a kind of kept hidden in the Shastra. But let us, before we get into that, what I would like to do is that I would like each one of you to tell me what your view is. This is a fantastic. He's a great guy, Vyasa. So we have to learn so much from them. So he's turning towards them, saying, "You please tell me what your view is," to each one of them. So in big meetings, they do that. Tell me your view. Nobody is listening to this. We'll tell him, but what's your view? What's your view? Finally, this person's view will prevail. But you actually discussed the matter with everybody. So what's your view, each one of you? First, Drupada, he asked him, "You are the girl's father. You tell me your view." Drupada said, "Adharmoyam mama mato." As far as my belief is concerned, this is adharma. Viruddho lokavedayo. This is absolutely against common world practice and against the Veda. Nagyeka vidyate patni bahunam dvija sattama. It is not possible that one girl can be the wife of more than one man. Not possible. And I have not known any Mahatma in the past who has done such a thing. It has not been known. No Mahatma does it. And no Vidwan, no person who is a scholar or learned person or should commit such an adharma, kathanchana. Never should such an adharma be done. Therefore, I do not wish to undertake this dharma virodha karyam. That is my view. Now, they said to Drishtadumna, "You tell me." He said, as to the nature of dharma, dharma is ati sukshma. And we are unable to know with any degree of absolute certainty that this is dharma and this is not dharma. In the context of what that issue is, we do not know. So whether this is dharma or adharma, it is impossible for people like us to determine, O Maharshi. Therefore, O Brahman, to Vyasa he says, we don't know what is dharma or what is adharma in this matter. Under these circumstances, I don't see how we can give our consent to it. For the proposal of Krishna, being the queen of 5 kings. Then he turned to Yudhishthira saying, "What do you say?" Yudhishthira said, "My tongue does not utter falsehood. And my mind is never disposed towards adharma. and my mind is for this wedding. And so, it cannot be adharma at all. See, it's reminded of, if you read Kamba Ramayanam, and Rama and Lakshmana along with Vishwamitra, they walk into Mithila. And Sita is seeing from the terrace of her balcony or whatever, from her palace. It's a fascinating description. I won't go into that now, but you must read the description of that in the Kamba Ramayana. How her, like two arrows from her eyes go and smash into the shoulders of Rama. He reels. And he looks up at her, and practically each one's eyes consumes each other or something like that. Kamban's description we cannot match. But the beautiful description of Sita and Rama, actually Rama's, both of them undergoing almost, he says something like Sagara Manthanam happened, it seems, to their hearts. It just completely smashed. They who are eternal companions in the waters of Kshirasagaram, having been separated, one now born from the earth, other born from the fire, were to be reunited. So they were smashed like that. And of course, Sita's description, fascinating after that, how there are all these girls with Sita, no? For the princess, there are always the Sakhis around. So some of them are experienced, some of them are not experienced, but they know something is wrong. All that's a beautiful description of what happens to her afterwards. How when Rama recovers and Lakshmana and Vishnu are walking, her mind is walking along with them because she sees them walk away. All that is very fascinating. Then Lakshmana, of course, being the kind younger brother, doesn't mess around with Rama much, but he's waiting for some kind of explanation. And he gets it from Rama. Beautifully, Rama says that, first explains that this is crazy kind of thing. Then he says that, you see, my mind cannot commit adharma. It is not possible. Therefore, absolutely sure that this girl is unmarried. And must be whatever she says. So, like that, Yudhishthira says, my mind cannot commit adharma. And then Yudhishthira says, we have known from the Puranas that a great lady, a Dharmatma lady called Jatila, she married the Saptarishis, all 7. We know. We also know from the Puranas, then Kandu Muni's daughter, she married the 10 Pracheta brothers. So the story of Pracheta comes in Vishnu Purana. And how all that. So we'll take a quick look at that story of what happened in the case of Pracheta. It goes like this. Maitreya and Parashara are talking. So Prithu's descendants, they've been given the task of populating the earth, so to say, by Brahma. Prithu, his descendant called Krin Prachin Varihi, he had married the daughter of the ocean, Savarna. They had 10 sons, Prachetas they were called. And these Prachetas did tapasya for 10,000 years. So Maitreya asked Parashara, why did they do tapasya for 10,000 years? For what reason? Then Parashara said, see, Brahma had asked Prachin Varihi to ensure that the world became populated with people. Now this Prachin Varihi had these 10 sons, Prachetas. So he had asked the Prachetas to now further continue the population. These Prachetas, somehow they did not know what to, they could not go about this task, they did not know. So he asked their father, what should we do? They said, you do tapasya, you pray to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu created Brahma. So if we could create Brahma, he will tell you what to do. So they had done 10,000 years of tapasya. So they did 10,000 years of tapasya. Vishnu appeared before them on Garudan, etc., offered them varam. Pratheta requested, they said, what do you want? Pratheta requested that please help us to populate this world. How would we do this? So then they said, all right, we give you the boon. So they emerged from the earth. You will, he said, and went off. So now they're in the waters doing this tapasya because they were their mother was the daughter of the ocean. So they're doing the tapasya out of the waters. They came out of the waters. The earth had changed in 10,000 years. The whole place was full of trees now, absolutely full of trees and all that. They got very upset. What is this trees doing everywhere I go? So they started blowing with wind and fire at the trees, and things started burning down and getting blown away. And the king of the forest, the trees, etc., was Soma. Soma came and said, please, please, please stop this, and all to them. And then in order to placate them, he said, I will give you this daughter of there's a lady who's been born from the trees. There's a lady who's born from the trees. Her name is, what is it? Marisha. Nice name. Marisha. Soma had brought her up. Soma, the king of the forest, had brought her up. And he said, I will give you that girl. She's a fantastic, beautiful girl. And he offered them to the 10 prachetas and said, out of them will be born the Daksha, who will people the world. And he also told the prachetas the story of Marisha's birth. Marisha's birth also a very interesting story. Marisha was the daughter of the sage called Kandu. How was she born? Kandu was a great rishi doing terrific tapasya, and then the devas got very worried, and Indra sent one apsara called Pramlocha to go and disturb his tapasya. She came, she disturbed it. They started living with each other, and 100 years passed. 100 years passed with no time. Then 100 years later, she said, now can I go? She asked him. He said, no, you just come. How can you stay for some more time? So the another 100 years she stayed, and then she said, can I go? He said, no, just come, stay. Like that it went on. It was 900 years, 987 years, 6 months and 3 days. She was there with him. Then suddenly it felt to him as if one day had got over. Kandu was so deeply involved with her. He thought one day is over, evening has happened. He said, no, see, we have spent one whole day with each other. It's now evening. You may now go, he told her. She said, what one day? 987 years has elapsed. He said, oh my God, etc. Please go and all that. So she went, and on the way, she was sweating so much that she had put her sweat on the tree, etc. And she went, but that sweat that she came was the child, became a child, this girl, Marisha. So this Marisha was born as a child to the trees. And this Marisha, in her previous birth, she had lost her, she was a Kshatriya, she was with the king, married to a king. The king died early, so she became she lost her husband very early in her life, and she was doing tapasya to Vishnu. And Vishnu came and asked her, saying, what do you want, boon you want? And she said, I want a son like Brahma who will give me law, and I also want very good husband in life after life. So then he said, no, in one life itself we'll get very good husbands and all that. So that boon she had got. And so that's how she is going to get married to Prachetas. So that's how she married Prachetas, and their son was Daksha Prajapati. Daksha Prajapati, you all know. So that big story was there. So this all this. So there is a precedent. So now, like in the Supreme Court, you say there is a precedence. So Yudhishthira said there is a precedence. There are these two cases. And then he laid his final important argument. He said, Guru Hivachanam Prahur Dharmyam Dharmagya Sattama Gurunam Chaiva Sarvesha Mata Paramako Guru. He said, it is all people who know Dharma know that the Guru's Vachana is Dharma. If a Guru tells you something, it is Dharma. And then, Gurunam Chaiva Sarvesha Mata Paramako Guru. Among all gurus, the mother is the greatest guru. It is my mother's command. We are following her words. Therefore, it is dharma. Then Vyasa turns to Kunti. What do you say? Kunti said, whatever Yudhishthira has said is true. I only told him. But now I am worried. Because if it is not done, it doesn't happen this way, then it would mean that I have uttered a lie, a falsehood, or something. And that would be a great papam for me. Is what she says. Then Vyasa now has to give his judgment. He says, Bhadra, no sin will come to you. You will not be held for the charge of lying. What Yudhishthira has said is indeed dharma, he clarifies to everybody. O Panchala king, there is a great secret regarding this match. And I will not reveal it in front of everyone. I will tell this to you alone, one on one, to Drupada. He is the most anxious person in all this hall. To you alone, I will tell you this secret. So let us. So they go to a separate room, and he says yes. So Vyasa tells him. There is a background to all this. Tells Drupada. In days of yore, the Devatas were performing a great yajna in Naimisharanya. And in that yajna, Yamadharmaraja also participated. And it went on for a long time. So when Yamadharmaraja was participating in yajna for a long time, people stopped dying because he could not do his job of taking the lives of people. So people are going on living. And when people are going on living, all the other devas, Kuvera, Varuna, all of them, Indra, all of them got very worried. And they went to Brahma and said, what is happening? He said, no, what is happening? He asked them. He said, no, these people are going on living. He said, are you afraid of people? He said, no, normally we are not. We are supposed to be immortal, but no, these fellows are also becoming immortal. They are not dying. He said, yeah, that is true. This Yama is busy doing this yajna. So, you have to go and, see what you can do about it. So they had all gone to the earth to see what they could do about Yama doing this yajna, and they had gone by the banks of the yajna was in Naimisharanya. They went when they were near the banks of the river Ganga, Indra and others. Suddenly they saw an amazingly beautiful golden lotus flowing down the river. Indra was besotted. In Devalokam also I have not seen such a beautiful flower. Where is it coming from? Let me see. So this distraction happened for him. So he went looking upstream. He went, where is this coming from? Then he went all the way to Gangotri. He went right to the source of the river. There he found, right where the Gangotri, where the Ganga was gushing out from the glacier in that big area, he found there was a beautiful young girl of tremendous charm, tremendous beauty, and she was standing in the Ganga water and she was weeping. Oh, she was crying. This man is set for life now. She was crying. And when she cried, when her tears, each tear that dropped into that water became a golden lotus flower and it was going down the Ganges. Indra, obviously now, he has to ask her, why are you crying? Who are you? Why are you crying? What is the problem? She said, no, kya bataye? She said, I am a girl with a singular misfortune, bad luck and all that. I am plagued by bad luck and misfortune. He said, but what is it? He said, if you really want to know what my problem are, follow me. He said, I'll follow you. So she started taking him up the mountain. Up the Himalaya, somewhere she took him. He kept following her. And they reached some place, top of that mountain. There he found one young couple. A man and a woman. She was sitting in his lap. And they were deeply, all five senses involved with each other. They were looking at each other, totally sporting, and they were completely besotted with each other, etc. They didn't notice this Indra coming and this other girl coming. They had not one idea, not one interest in all that. They didn't know. Indra is not used to going somewhere and people not noticing him or getting up, etc. So, what is this nonsense these two people are doing here and all that? So he kind of shouted at them. He got angry. He said, how dare you ignore me? Huh? You do know who I am? Do you know who I am? I am the king of the Devas. Unfortunately for them, these two people were Shiva and Parvati. So Shiva said, "Who is this fellow?" He turned towards him and he laughed at him, laughed at Indra. And he kind of looked at him once and Indra became stone. He just became stone. Indra had become stone. Then Shiva asked that beautiful crying lady, bring that stone here. So that lady went and touched that stone, saying, "Hey," like that. Then he became Indra again, but now only blood circulation started. Tadam, he fell on the ground. Full length in front of Shiva, he fell on the ground. Then he dusted himself and got up and went near Shiva. Very scared now, what is this and all that. Then he didn't speak now, he's waiting. Shiva told him, warned him, saying, "Don't be arrogant again," and all that. "But you need to be punished," he told him. "You need a punishment." He said, "You seem to be a strong man. You see that stone there? There was a big stone, big boulder." He said, "Move that boulder." So Indra went and moved that boulder. Behind that was a cave. He said, "Get into that cave." Okay. He went into that cave and he found 4 Indras like him inside that cave. He was the 5th one to enter that cave. So Shiva said, 4 people like you have come earlier. Fellows have still not learnt. You'll be along with them inside this cave, imprisoned. They all fell at the feet of Shiva saying, pardon us, pardon us. How many 1,000 years later is opened now? So he said, all right, you're all here for not without reason. You have to do some very important work. You see, the earth is becoming heavy bhubharam. The Yama is doing other things. Heavy bhubharam is there. So you all have an important role to play in this. Since you have committed so much, such arrogance you have shown, you will have to be born on the earth. But you will rid the earth of this bhubharam. That is your role, all 5 of you. And this girl, this beautiful crying girl, she will be born as a wife. She will play a very key role in this entire thing of reducing this bhubharam. Anything? Any questions? The 4 Indra said quickly. They decided that 5 are there, 4 first spoke quickly, saying that they know that they are to be born. So they must quickly decide what is the important thing to ask now. So they said, we should be born to Dharma. Dharmaraja should be one father. Vayudeva for the other fellow should be the father. The 3rd and 4th said, we too should be born to Ashwini twins. Then this 5th, the latest fellow had come. He said, I should be born to myself. I am Indra, the latest Indra. I should be born to myself. There. Shiva said, no problem. That's okay. You can be born to yourself. Not an issue. Then he said, come with me. Come with me. And he took them to Taireva Sardham Tatah Sadevo Jagama Narayanam Aprameyam Anantam Avyaktam Ajam Puranam Sanatanam Vishwam Anantarupam. So he took these 5 Indras and that girl, Jagama Narayanam Aprameyam, to Lord Narayana, to Vaikuntham. Shiva took them. To Anantam Avyaktam Ajam Puranam Sanatanam Vishwam Anantarupam Narayana. To the infinite, to the unmanifest, to the unborn, to the ancient, to the eternal, to the all-pervading, the indivisible Narayana. He took them and told them, this is the background for the Bhubharam project. These 5 people and that girl, they seek your blessings. Narayana blessed them. Narayana blessed them. Okay, may you be successful in your project, in your born on earth, etc. And after they were born on earth, Lord Narayana took 2 hair from his head. One was black and one was white. 2 individual hair from his head and threw it on the earth. Vyasa is telling the story to Drupada. That black one became Sri Krishna and the white one became Balarama. O king, the 5 Indras are the Pandavas. And the Devi who was with them, who was crying in the Gangotri Ganges, is Draupadi. Now, come, I will give you divine sight, so that you can see them as they are. And Drupada suddenly saw, instead of 5 Pandavas, there are 5 Indras shining, absolutely shining. And the Draupadi, the beautiful, shining goddess, dazzling like the sun and the fire. He was overjoyed to see them. Just the sight was overjoyed, so joyful. Vyasa then said there is one more background, and he told the other story also of that Patim Dehi, 5 times how she had done. We spoke about it last time. He tells that as well. And says, this is the background. And he told her, see, this is the background of your daughter Krishna. Had she not been a divine person, could she have been born from the Yajna fire? She whose radiance is so blazing like the sun. And she also, her fragrance is wafts for miles, it seems. Like Satyavati's. Long distance, her fragrance will be there. So she has been created by Lord Brahma himself. Now I have told you all, says Vyasa. Now I have told you all. Now please do as you feel right. Rasutva Rajan Ishtam Kurushva. Just like Sri Krishna had told Arjuna at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishaita asheshena yadechati tata kuru. I have told you, Krishna had told him, the great secret, most secret of secrets, guhyat guhyataram. I explained to you. And having deliberating upon this entire thing, after that, whatever you want to do, you do. Krishna had told him. This guy also, Vyasa also had started saying this is a great secret of the thing. Then he had told all this. And then he says, now it's up to you, you do as you want to do. Then Drupada said, Brahmarshi, destiny which is decided by the Supreme God cannot be undone. I am thinking after listening to the story, why should someone ask for something? This girl, she asked for a good husband. God gave her 5. Best is to flow with destiny. And in this case, why did God bless her like this with 5 husbands? What is the supreme secret behind this? God only knows. But then, Yadi jaivam vidha shankarena dharmo adharmo va natra mama aparadha. If something has been decreed by Lord Shankara, Lord Shiva has, it is his command that something is happening. Whether that thing is dharma or adharma is immaterial, I am not to be blamed. Na mamo aparadha, I don't know, papa will attach to me by doing what Shankara has decreed. Therefore, let these princes grinnantu ime vidivat panimasya yathopajosham vihitaisham hi Krishna. Krishna has been made for this purpose only. Therefore, let these princes, one by one, do panigrahanam with her. So Vaishampayana tells Janmejaya that Vyasa said to Yudhishthira, O Pandunandana, today is an auspicious day for you all. Today the moon is nearing the star of growth and nurturing. The moon is in Pushya Nakshatram. Therefore, it is a good day and you may first do panigrahanam of Krishna. Immediately snap of fingers, everything had been arranged. Drupada was waiting. All had been arranged, etc. All the gifts were there, all the, on one, as if it was like prearranged. One army stood in one side in one direction. Then one screens might have been opened or rooms. I don't know how. All mountains of jewelry, all that, elephants, horses, everything needed to be given with Krishna for the to go with her, because she will need all this. So all those things had been piled up on one side, etc. All arrangements were there, and then these people were gone inside. They came back in royal, in great dresses, fantastic wedding type of dresses. These five princes, etc., along with their guru Dhaumya. Dhaumya had come, and they all with fantastically they came into the mandapa like rishabhas, one after another, like big oxes. These five princes, one for Yudhishthira first, Bhimasena second, Arjuna third, fourth and fifth. These people walked into that hall, and then everything was ready. The Purohitas were there, Krishna was there in best of bridal dress, and Drupada was ready, Vyasa was around, Narada, etc. had already arrived, as if invitation had been given to them in advance. All of them, the devas had arrived, the people came, etc. It was there. Pradakshinam tam pragrihita bani samanayama sataveda paraga. The Vedic fire had been lit, the mantras had been said, then the direction was given, and Yudhishthira was the first one to hold Krishna's hand and walk around the fire, uttering the sacred mantras of marriage, and the most auspicious wedding of Yudhishthira was conducted on that day. And as soon as Yudhishthira was married, that day's function was concluded. After that, after all the necessary rituals were done for that wedding, that day's wedding was concluded. Yudhishthira was married. Then the Purohitas went off to their bhavanas. The Yudhishthira and Draupadi were sent off to their bhavana. All of them returned, and that's how ended the first day of the wedding of Panchali. Har Namah Parvati Pataye Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jivana Smaranam Trivel Muruganuk Sri Sadguru Swamina Sri Anjaneya Swamina